Alright, so now let's execute Order 60. Commander Cody. The time has come. Execute Order 66. It'll be done, my lord. What? Hi, Ian here. Quick thing before we get into this. Quick thing before you do that. Pay attention to this video. Ian Lamont S. Ltd. Dun da 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 dun. Dun 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 da da dun 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 da da dun 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 da da dun 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 da da dun dun. It was a long time ago on multiple YouTube channels far, far away. YouTubers tried to predict Order 66 if Order 66 failed. And now one other YouTuber is guaranteed to do it. Ian Lamont S., a proud YouTube gamer, was betted by Josh Scorcher to do this video. And now the video that he's been forced into doing has begun. Why do I agree to doing these rotten fan request videos? Sorry about that. Sorry about that, every viewer. I'm really mad. Now, usually I'm not this mad, but today I'm as mad as a womp rat far away from its home. Today is a very highly requested topic. What if Order 66 failed? Now, why would I do this video, you ask? It's a long story. But how about we put it at a long story that I can explain? Haha, I can explain all of this. Starting now. I can explain all of this. Starting right now. So, you remember a lot of YouTube channels that released the video, what if Order 66 failed? It's a very big theory on multiple YouTube channels. Two of my favorite YouTube channels that have tried to solve this theory are the YouTube channels Film Theory. Are two of my favorite YouTube channels CBR and the Star Wars Theory and the Synopsis Wave. Those are three channels of mine, my favorites, that are still on YouTube and going strong about finding out what if Order 66 failed. Shall we get into it? Okay, I'm gonna give you guys 3 pieces of evidence that can raise my theory to new heights, or bite it right in the flank. So let's get started. Evidence 1. Star Wars The Clone Wars. Alright, so in order to see what I meant, we have to go into something known as the Lost Missions. Which was meant to be the final season until the great House of Mouse brought it back. Let's get into it before I really lose my temper. Let's get into this theory before I really get mad and lose my temper. In order to see what I mean, we first have to enter some old stories. We have to enter a few Star Wars movies. The first movie the movie that I'm focusing on are the 3 Star Wars films that were released. Now, the one thing I'm going to do is one movie each. Now let's play a game of what if Order 66 failed. Now the reason why Order 66 happened was because of Palpatine manipulations. So let's just say Palpatine couldn't manipulate Anakin into betraying the Jedi. What if instead of that, Anakin will still go to Mace Windu, telling him about... Anakin would go to Mace Windu still, telling him that Palpatine has betrayed the Republic. And you know what Anakin says back? And you know what Anakin says back? And you know what Mace Windu says back? A Sith Lord? Then our greatest fears have been realized. The movie will still play out the same way it did before. So surprised by this one moment, Palpatine would... Now let's get into the scene where everything went downhill. Let's see everything go downhill. Now let's see the scene where everything went downhill. Now, everything would still play out the same way. Palpatine, seeing he's outnumbered, would still fight back. It's treason, then. But this is where Mas Amedda would enter, and noticed Palpatine, and said, Anakin was right. The Chancellor's a traitor! Mas Amedda would run to the Congress and make an emergency Senate meeting. He would hologram to Bail Organa to fly back to the Senate building as fast as he can. Mas Amedda would tell Bail Organa to fly back to the Senate building as fast as he can. And that is exactly what Bail Organa did. Bail Organa flew back to the Senate building as fast as he could and met up with Palpatine's advisor. He would meet up with Palpatine's advisor, Mas Amedda, he would meet up with the Grand Vizier of the Chancellor, Mas Amedda, who would tell him that he said that Palpatine was a Sith Lord and has betrayed all of the Senate. Mas Amedda would make a vote to pull the Chancellor out of office and have a new Chancellor take his place. He would say, for many years, I have served over a person I thought I could trust. But now that I've seen what I saw in his office, Palpatine is no longer fit to remain in Congress. May it be known that Chancellor Palpatine shall be immediately taken out of office. And then he would hear Palpatine over the signal watch, telling Ameta to get help. But Ameta wouldn't do it because he said, "You are no longer relevant here." He would ask what he meant, and then he would say, but then all the Senate would still call Palpatine a traitor. They would say that they were being under the control of someone untrustworthy, and would say that Mas Amedda was right and decided that Mas Amedda was the perfect one to be on the Senate. But sadly, this is where our what if would take a turn for the worst again. Mas Amedda would also reveal that he's known about Palpatine's treachery, but he didn't know. And this is where things go downhill. Mas Amedda would also be taken out of office, meaning that now Bail Organa had the right to be remaining as Chancellor. Now this wouldn't be a surprise, because I believe that this would happen later on. Because I knew in my what if I would have to change some things. Alright, so now let's head back to the Chancellor's office. Palpatine and Mace Windu would still duel, and actually, the Jedi Masters he killed actually survived the carnage. They would duel until Mace Windu had Palpatine pinned. "You are under arrest, my lord." Mace Windu would pull up his lightsaber over Palpatine's head and beg, "Stop, I'm too weak." Then Anakin would rush in as well. "Anakin, I was right, you see, I was right. The Jedi are taking over." Now in this scene, what if Anakin didn't help Palpatine? And he would say to Mace Windu, "Stop, Bail Organa now has control of the Senate and the courts. We can keep him alive to stand trial." Mace Windu would then put down his lightsaber. And then he would crush the clone's inhibitor control hologram thing. And all the clones would and all the fighting would still continue. Ugh. Did this change something